too have the power of a god.
I got loyalty inside my DNA. I got loyalty inside my DNA. I got loyalty, got war and peace inside my DNA. I got love and pain and joy inside my DNA.
死んだ天性
I was born in this world. Immaculate conception, not your love. Perform like this without you, one new weapon. I know I meditate and humble. This that is the best. This that I got loyalty, got loyalty inside my DNA. I got loyalty, got war and peace inside my DNA. I got love and pain and joy inside my DNA.
いい加減おとなしく切られやがれ
I was born in this world. Immaculate conception, not your love. Perform like this without you, one new weapon. I know I meditate and humble. This that is the best. This that I got loyalty.
キレキン穴があったら入りたい
Loyalty inside my DNA.
And we are live. Welcome to court. Happy Father's Day to everybody that applies to. Happy not a Father's Day to everybody that applies to, because I know that applies way harder than Happy Father's Day. Speaking personally.
Absolutely. Oh.
Maybe.
I mean,
happy not a Father's Day like every day.
right. Like, listen, I'm not anybody's hater. I'm not saying I blame my kids, but I got friends that went to Greece recently, and the only Greece I had was from a cheesesteak that I got. So,
Your kids are young.
Yeah, it's really not
right. And I love my children. I'm not saying I regret anything. Like, this ain't about me. I love my kids. Me and my kids, we having a great time. These are my pride and joy. These are the mini me's to the life that I live. They're wonderful. They be helping me roast Brittany. Like, we do the most together. Don't give me the line about my kids. Like, it'd be fun. You ain't lived until you had a 3 a.m. sword fight, a lightsaber fight, just because.
I have no comment.
It's the day.
It's because you never had a lightsaber fight at 3 a.m.
Okay, well, I'm sorry that my childhood was not that good, and that I was
I mean,
neglected
you know.
most of my life. I mean, that's fine. That's just bring up some trauma. That's okay. Just gonna drink out of my
Way to segue into our newest episode of
really, pull your heart out,
right.
Yeah.
Trying to compare like the traumas. My mom doesn't even know what a lightsaber is, so
Let's talk about just childhood trauma right now, because it is court day for
It is
Mr.
Father's Day. It's what it is. And we are not talking about childhood traumas. We are talking about the dads of today. We celebrate all the dads. We celebrate the men who stepped up into the kids' lives and became stepdad or still dad in a lot of cases. But we celebrate you. We thank you. We salute you. You have done a great job, fathers everywhere. Pat yourselves on the back.
Pat
What they
yourself
saying about
on the
y'all?
back.
Like, this is your day, but this ain't your day in court. Today, we have me. I'm the good, righteous daddy that's defending the children, the plaintiff, the people. I'm not going to take too much time on this Father's Day. Y'all know what I'm here for. Judge T, won't you tell them about yourself and tell them where they can find you?
Jesus Christ. I am Miss Tioni. I am your friendly big titty girl from Jersey. I am your judge today on this Father's Day. We are putting a certain someone on trial.
Nah. Call him by his name. This ain't Voldemort.
yeah, let's be some respectful. Call him his
We're
full name.
putting
Yes,
Gambino on trial for his
Not childish, but
anyway,
Transgression.
let's just move on. You can catch me at my socials after this, so you have to stay tuned for that.
Stay tuned for all the socials if you want to see how big those titties are. And giving it up for the defendant of the day, the man himself, dressed in red because he knew what he had to do. He knew how he had to come in. He had to come in tuxedo sharp. He had to come in ready. He had to defend the bad guy, Mikey Fluke, the villain, the ultimate bad guy. Tell the people who you are.
If you've seen or played any of the Ace Attorney games, I'm obviously the rival. I'm Mikey Edgeworth. I'm defending an actually innocent man. Actually innocent. I'm gonna change.
Objection!
Yeah. I'm changing everybody's minds up. Don't even worry about that. But
They gonna call him innocent before he even came up on trial. That's how you know he ready to start lying.
It's not a lie if it's the truth.
Objection!
All right, gentlemen. This is oh god, this is going to be a very long hour. Let's get into it here. We're going to start off with. I don't even want to start off with the defense, just the plaintiff.
How about what is he in turn?
What are the charges here?
Charged with, yeah.
All right, are we ready for the charges?
Absolutely.
So, in terms of today, I believe he should be charged with a lot of things, from child endangerment to making a child soldier, from abuse of a child, and various unspeakable means. I'm talking the worst kinds of abuse that you can even put a child through. SA, child abuse. This child was used in a mercenary band. And let's be clear here. This was not a child that was found with love and raised and no. He was found and named based off of where he was found. And I know that happens to a lot of children. Jon Snow, you're a bastard because you were born in the snow region. Cool, makes sense. In his case, he was found hanging from his mama's guts and called as such. And then Gambino decided to, we'll get into what Gambino decided to do. However, what we will discuss today is the fact that this man has been charged with not only child endangerment, but raising a child soldier. You took a loving, healthy baby that survived his mom not making it. And instead of showing him, hey, I'm going to raise you as the next head of the mercenary bandit group, I'm going to mercilessly put my will and sell you into slavery, into sex trafficking. Trigger warning. Sorry, it's gonna be a trigger warning, trigger heavy episode. So if you're watching this with your children, because it's Father's Day, if you're watching this with the family, put in some headphones if you still want to go at the trial. We appreciate you for being here. However, this man doesn't need to go to jail. He needs to go under the jail, Judge T. And that's all I'm gonna say about this for now.
Okay. All right, Mr. Mikey Edgeworth, if you would like to go ahead and start with your opening argument here.
Of course. First and foremost, wouldn't it be implied that Gambino is actually the father who stepped up? Because if he didn't, there wouldn't be a berserk. Guts would still actually have died on the tree, hanging from his mom's guts. He didn't have to just do anything. He could have just left it alone. He could have just carried on his way, but he decided, maybe I want a son. Maybe I actually want to, be that guy. I want to step up and do this. Of course, all the people in his mercenary band were like, no, man, don't do it. He was like, shut up. This is going to be my kid. Look at the way he's holding on. Look at the way he's still alive. I'm going to name him Guts because he's got guts. I'm going to train him to be fearless. Train, not abuse. It's discipline. It's always been. For the most part, of course.
Always.
Every time. So I'm going to defend this man and just throw away any claims of mistreatment that he actually has, because it's not true. There's no way my client did this. And I can promise you, as the most upfront, 110% honest lawyer that we got here, that I will uphold all of his truths and defend this man and make him walk free.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. what I have seen before me and the charges and the witness statements of what Mr. Gambino himself did do, I'm a little shocked, Mr. Edgeworth, that you would like to defend him, considering what he has done physically.
You know, everybody's human, and people often make a lot of mistakes, but it's because they're people and they're human that they make these mistakes.
Did he also make human mistakes?
No, he didn't make a human mistake.
I mean, was his daughter not a human? Was that not?
She was. He didn't make a human mistake.
So
Tread
you would
carefully.
argue that what he did was not a human mistake,
No,
but
he did
this
not
was on
make
purpose.
a human mistake.
So when Guts was sold into sex trafficking as being a part of his mercenary bandit group
Mhm.
for 3 pieces of silver
Yes, sir.
before he then had his way.
No, that's 300 copper. That's a lot of money.
How much money is your soul worth?
Three silver.
Okay.
Mhm.
Mhm.
That's why he defeated you in the last one. As I plan to do today, Judge. What are we talking about here? This man
We're gonna-
sold him into sex trafficking. He essentially had him as a slave, and he did what he wanted to. This wasn't training. This wasn't discipline. This wasn't love. Come on, Judge. You know what love is. Like, what are we talking about here?
Well, it seems that what you pointed out earlier in this episode, I don't know what love is, but I can agree the basics of love, yes, but
Judge,
Edward?
hearing all this, you have to believe this man's a monster. This man took what was essentially his child because he stepped up, as the defendant said. He stepped up into his life. That was a choice he made. Now, everything was good in the hood until he lost his leg. Now, if you weren't as good as you said you are, and you got caught slipping, how is that my client's fault? It sounds like,
Judge, if I may, have you ever? I'm pretty sure you're around people, animals, and just beings in general. Am I correct?
Correct.
Okay. Has anybody ever, just in general, I don't know, maybe stepped on your foot before, or accidentally just kind of ran into you, maybe pushed you, or any sort of physical action against you?
Yes, it's been
Okay,
accidents.
okay. Have you? And I'm pretty sure there's not a lot of people like this. As a kind-hearted person as you are, Judge, have you not felt anger or some kind of emotional feeling towards that person for causing such an act against you? See, no one's peaceful, Judge. No one is just the saint, as a lot of people would be. No one's a saint. No one's just so nice that they can forgive and forget anything. He lost his leg. That is correct. But do we know how he lost his leg? Maybe defending a young Guts. Maybe because Guts was not trained hard enough, or maybe he was just lazy and not paying attention to the battle that he agreed to be part of because he wanted to help his father, that he lost that leg. Of course, maybe it's no excuse to be upset at the child, but there's always going to be resentment for losing an entire appendage that you need. Anybody would be upset, rightfully so. Forgiving and forgetting is hard to do, especially when you're one-leg Billy.
Mm.
Judge, I ask you, would you not be upset? Truly? You can't just say it's his fault, and how would Guts make it up to him? I don't even think Guts would try.
Judge, if I may, if I can point out another famous anime character who also suffers from a disability. In episode 1, we see Shanks lose his arm trying to save Luffy. He saved the future Pirate King's life. Now, Shanks did not just go on to be some scrub after this, wasn't a scrub before this. He stole this fruit from the government. They hunted him down. This nigga rolled up on government secret agents, stole the fruit up off of them, rolled out, hid out, and then went on to be one of the supreme powers in the One Piece world with one arm. Judge, if you are who you are, you're going to stand on business, right?
That is correct.
Speaking on standing on business, Judge, which Gambino cannot. Gambino is a regular mercenary. Regular daily mercenary. Shanks stole something from a superpower.
He's a pirate. He's a pirate. He's a regular pirate.
Are you
talking mercenary to pirate. Shanks ain't got no powers. All Shanks got is them hands, and he got one of them now.
Now, that is, Judge, that's cap. Have you ever heard of, and I'm sure the plaintiff would agree, hockey?
Yes.
Oh, I see. Are you saying that Shanks didn't have that? Of course, maybe we didn't know those things at the time, but are you saying he didn't? Plaintiff?
I'm not saying that he didn't, but it was never illustrated that he used it at that time. So to our knowledge, all Shanks did was give that sea monster a stare.
I see. Judge, maybe I'm starting to see a little judgment towards the person I'm defending here, my client. Just because he's not
because he's a rapist?
Now, if I know anything, mercenaries often get hired to do certain things, maybe kill a opposing faction, or maybe go defend somebody or go steal something, because it happens, because they're mercenaries. They work for the money. So it's not wrong to say that they could also, if it was possible and in the same world, steal a, mind you, mystical, magical fruit that instills powers into a person who eats said fruit. Now, if it was me and I had this fruit that was really, really, really dangerous for any regular person to have, I would have it locked up somewhere, maybe a world government, so that no one else could get that. I mean, like, it's a really important thing. I mean, if I recall correctly, that said fruit has a lot of history behind it. A joyous occasion for a certain boy, if I'm correct. So, for Shanks to be compared to Gambino, who, once again, Stumpy, he isn't the same. Not at all.
I mean, are those not muscles? Is he not seeing like?
Does Shanks not have muscles, sir?
That's a mercenary. Are we arguing a mercenary versus a pirate?
We can compare them, of course, if you really want to, because mercenary and pirate, they both have crews. They both have people that depend on them. They both work. They both get their money. They both eat, sleep, shit. But one of the main differences here is Shanks is not so regular. Is he?
I mean,
I see. So comparing a regular person with just a sword and some leadership skills to a notorious and famous pirate who has sailed plenty of times through the seas, stolen plenty of things that he wanted.
But they still went through similar practices. If the same instance happens, they both lose an arm with the main character. In Shanks' case, an arm. In Gambino's case, a leg. They lost a limb with the main character. The main character suffered with them and said, "Oh no, how will you go on from here?" And how they went on meant two different things. Shanks went on to greatness, while Gambino went on to shame.
Of course.
You can't overlook the shame of what happened and what he did. Mm-hmm. There is no forgiving and forgetting when you sold someone into sex trafficking. When you're selling them to the men of your mercenary group. You're a mercenary, sir. You mean to tell me you couldn't rape and pillage your way through villages? That was a choice.
There's a lot of choices, but he's not a pirate, as some pirates would do.
Yeah, and that's not what Shanks did.
Now, as far as I'm concerned, Shanks did lose. They both did lose an appendage.
Mm-hmm.
I think the difference here is which one and how they were able to operate. Of course, it's terrible that Shanks lost his arm. I mean, obviously, because some stupid kid rode off in a boat trying to be stupid. You know, no reason for that. But Shanks could still wield a sword and do whatever he wanted, correct? I mean, like, he still was a pirate of high caliber, correct?
But he had to back down from fighting who was once considered the world's greatest swordsman.
Of course.
How do we know at that time that Shanks wasn't considered the world's greatest swordsman? Because he had two swords. He could be able to wield with two hands. Now, with one hand alone, he was able to challenge and say, I'm going to step up as one of the big four people who run this seas as a pirate. Imagine what he could have done with two hands. And he never took that resentment out on people.
Always could have put a sword in his mouth like Zorro, but I mean, hey, not everyone.
There's a lot of people who can't. So I agree with that.
He's not built like that.
The difference,
but he is built better than Gambino, who then turned to crime and sexually assaulting. You can't overlook the sexual assault of all of what he did.
Of course, I'm waiting, and I'm going to get into that quite later. But
he got into that. That's the same thing he said to Guts.
Okay. We don't need to go too far into that. Next charge. Thank you. Next charge. What's the other charge? The child soldier, correct?
Your Honor, you know how I feel about child soldiers in this court. You know how we all feel about child soldiers in this court. We brought the Jedi up on child soldiers. That was a charge that we all agreed upon in this court. That, hey, that's a no-go. We set a precedent. Like we said, if you do this. Now, there's a lot of options and a lot of jobs in that world. He could have dropped Guts off at the nearest village. He could have made arrangements. He's a mercenary. You mean to tell me a mercenary doesn't have other options? You chose to raise this child into your lifestyle. He had other options. You found him. If you knew that you were a piece of shit and that you weren't going to do right by this child, you could have just let the child die. So now you intentionally ruined two lives. You ruined your life and this child because you will forever never know peace because now this child is being put in danger. Now you felt the need to train said child, and that's how you lost your leg. Now, imagine if you were never training said child, if you were just living your life as a mercenary. You losing your leg is on you, but you wouldn't then in turn start raping anybody else in your cabin. You wouldn't look for the weakest person. You look for the weakest child because you raised him to be exactly what you needed, an obedient child soldier.
Okay. Judge, plaintiff, the world is tough. It's a scary, dangerous world. I would not say that he raised a child soldier. He raised the kid in a way to defend himself. And I would like to show you, of course, here. You see, he's training him to be able to defend himself later. Anybody can take care of a kid and anybody can just cuddle them and let them, just live life. But he was training him to be able to take care of himself at some point in time in his life. He's never going to be around there forever. They're a mercenary group. Everything in their life is going to be dangerous no matter what.
Right. And recognizing said danger, wouldn't that put that they put him in that lifestyle? He's not there to not earn his keep one day. Like, I wouldn't put all this stock in training a child and never being like, okay, I don't want to see the fruition of my training. If I feel as though I'm the greatest, my training is going to make you great. And if that's going to make you great, now you have to work with me so that we can then in turn do something great and do something better.
Do you know any martial arts, sir?
Yeah, I do.
When did you learn said martial arts?
Around 9 or 10.
Interesting. Would you not be a child then?
Yeah.
I see. So you were being trained, and at any point in time, you could have gotten into a fight. I'm pretty sure you've gotten into an argument or something as a child, sir. Am I correct?
I mean,
Ah,
There were a few childhood skirmishes.
I see. And would you consider that not being trained in a way to protect yourself and just in case you needed to?
No, so I more so think of it in a way of learning discipline. So we
Oh,
weren't taught ways to come out and like kung fu fight a motherfucker.
mhm.
Like you don't learn like all the kung fu skills of Jackie Chan. You learn discipline. You learn how to tie. You learn how to bow. Like you learn how to bow. You learn different aspects of like discipline before you ever learn how to defend yourself. They taught us how to essentially like how to know to be a disciplined person and then to fight second.
I
In
see.
gut situation, it wasn't you're being disciplined because what kind of discipline can you give people that rape other people? What kind of discipline can you give in a mercenary group?
The
They're bad.
kind that lets you bond and train so that you can be able to save the people that matter in your own troop.
Nope. You know what I love about Luffy when he fights and somebody else is interfering? He says, there are no rules in a pirate fight. You know what I love about JJK? Their lives are on the line. So everybody's fighting all at once.
So
I'm not waiting on the sideline for the monster to come get me. We're jumping you. It's
so
a
would you
fight.
not say that in JJK they aren't adults, correct?
No,
They're
that's
not above the age of 18. At least some of them aren't. Obviously, the teachers aren't. But those are a lot of kids, teenagers that are scrapping and fighting.
they are.
I see. And were they not being trained to do so against a very dangerous thing that they should not do?
I mean, so in their unique situation, they're being trained to exercise demons and monsters.
In their situation, are you going to say that in a situation where this boy was born from his mother hanging from a tree, who obviously his life was already set on a downward path, quite literally and figuratively,
Right. But
that
for you to contribute,
he had to be coddled?
so if you see someone down and they got their ass kicked, are you gonna run over then kick it? Like, are you kicking them next because like you have the opportunity? Because that's what it sounds like. You're making an excuse for as if, hey, your life's terrible, things are going bad. I'm going to make this even worse for you.
Mm.
I'm going to train you in the way of fighting, so that way everything in your life either gets better in your training or doesn't. Like you're either going to learn to grow into the mercenary that I need you to, or we're going to get rid of you.
And that's exactly how it was. It was a tough life in the situation that they were in. They were all trained and they all knew. All of his brother bandmates were telling him to just leave the kid hanging there. Just leave him. But Gambino said no. This can be very good for us. This might be really good for us. I'm going to take this kid. I'm going to train him. He's going to be a great part of our core, guys.
Right. Which sounds like he's training him to be a great part of their mercenary group, right?
Yeah.
So that's a child soldier.
So wouldn't that be the same as anybody else who gets trained and joins a cause?
So there's a level of consent and a level of commitment that has to be done. So in the terms of the Power Rangers, the level of commitment that they have to commit to
But technically,
is different. I mean, it's essentially Job Corps. Like they do go through and they learn, because in different ones and SPD, you wouldn't call that necessarily like a task because they were adults.
Right.
But in Mighty Morphin, they were teenagers. Like they specifically sought out teenagers with attitude.
Yeah, because teenagers are way easier to manipulate into fighting for your cause.
No, because they could access their powers easily. And like someone in their 30s would get hurt trying to go out there if you do a backflip.
I'm gonna cap you on that. Dino Thunder.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I'm gonna get back to you on that, because no matter where the occasion leads, it all depends on the situation and place. Child soldiers are always gonna be there in a certain way, but no matter what, you are right. There's a level of consent that you have to go through for this. Guts could have run away. You could have just left Guts, whatever. But Guts wanted to train with him because he wanted to make his own. He wanted to have his own thing. He wanted his dad to be proud of him for being able to fight like everybody else. Everybody else is like, no, kid, you're small. You're not going to do anything. When
He was raised into that lifestyle. Like when that's your whole life, that's what you want to do.
Right.
Like,
I mean, yeah, of course, you know, you are what your surroundings are. But his first actual fight that he was part of, and they successfully raided something. Gambino was proud, gave him a gold coin, and said, "Keep it up, kid. You're doing great."
because in his mind, that's his dad. And like, who wouldn't want their dad to compliment them, to tell them you're doing a great job? Like, I'm a 33-year-old man. If my dad called me right now and said, son, you're doing a great job. I seen the latest episode. Keep it up. I'd be like, oh shit, you seen it? Thanks, Dad.
Oh,
Sorry for talking so much shit about you yesterday. But thanks, man.
I do the same thing. I'm not gonna lie. But
you guys would take the bare minimum. That's just sad. Yeah, that's trauma.
We're getting what we can get.
I can see that.
Hey, big homie been gone from my life for over 20 years, dog. Like at this point, I only want him back for the kids.
But like I said, at my point at the end of the day is as much as he knew the risk and he was old enough to have a conscious understanding of I can just run away, he did not.
Where was he gonna go?
Anywhere but, I mean, as you said, anywhere but someone who's going to harass and sexually exploit this child.
Right. But see, here's the thing. If they raided every village around him, then he knows that there's nothing there and that these people aren't going to help him because he just beat their ass. Or if he goes to the village ahead of him, he knows that they're just going to find him and they're going to do it all over again. And this time they might kill him. So where's he going to go?
Man, they're everywhere and they only raid and go to places that they were getting paid to do. So
right.
It's all a catch-22.
Don't matter. Because like just because you're going to places where you get paid doesn't mean that you wouldn't go hunt a motherfucker down. That you would then be able to say, or they would be able to then say, yo, he's been raping me the entire time. Don't hire this guy. Because there is no law in Guts era to say that. But there is now to be able to say, yo, that nigga's fucking up.
Okay. Well. Oh wait, I have a thing.
You have a thing.
Yeah, hold on. I just found it.
Is this new evidence you would like to admit into court? That's going to help your case?
Oh, it's all helping my case.
Interesting.
Oh yeah.
I feel like I got this one in the bag. Not to get so ahead of myself.
When you just now stated that these Power Rangers who are teens that, like I said before, easily can be manipulated, easily can be controlled.
This ain't about them, big dog. This is about the worst father. Zardon got his own day and his own court that he got to come to. But you know what? Today this ain't about them.
Okay. What's the next charge?
I believe it was said, but SI.
Ah, got you. Judge, I'd like to bring a witness to the stand.
Oh. Okay.
All right.
I'll allow it.
Guts, can you please come to the stand?
Damn,
Guts,
you look good.
Like a really happy individual, like someone who's been able to live your life.
That's a mad face, sir. At best.
He looks at peace. He looks relaxed. Normally, people who are traumatized like this just can't be so relaxed. So, Judge, seeing as you can see Guts here, being all relaxed and just in tune with just everything around him, this is like the same guy who actually been completely SA'd and just ruined his entire life, at least beginning of his whole entire life. Just I like to go into the time.
Objection!
I'd like to go into the time machine. I would like to visit younger Guts. Sorry, Guts, can you stand back? We're gonna go on the time machine. All right.
Judge,
oh, look at this innocent boy just swinging his legs and relaxed, so happy next to his sword that he's going to be able to really wield one day because his father figure.
Objection!
His
Judge.
father teaching him how to do it. So, Judge,
Come
can
on.
you really say? Can you
It's
truly
subjective.
say? Look at his face. You got to come back up. Look at his face, and tell me that he's just gone through the shit.
This is
Judge.
still called from the best moments. You can
Judge.
you can catch President Trump smiling, and he looks like a normal guy.
No, he doesn't. Judge. No, Judge. Truly, Judge. He's gone through the shit. But to be able to have the guts to carry on, I won't deny his childhood was rough. But look at that. He's in peace. He's happy with what he's doing. He's carrying on. There are worse people that are going to appear in his life later. Griffith did nothing wrong.
Judge, come on now. This is the first betrayal that he ever knew. In most people's lives, in most girls' lives, the dad is the first love they ever get. And most boys, it's their mother. In his case, all he had was an adopted stepfather. And he broke his heart as if that was the first love he was ever going to have, the first person he was ever going to trust. He trusted him. He loved him. That's all he knew. He wanted to be better for him. He stuck around because in some part of his mind, he probably thought, I deserve this because why else would my dad do this to me? You don't know any better. You're not thinking that you know any better. And to anybody out there that needs to hear this, you deserve better.
Yeah.
Loved, you are welcome, you are great for just being you, but not Gambino. That man's a piece of shit.
Judge, I have one more thing I need to ask. Obviously, the witness, if you do not mind.
We're already down this rabbit hole. I'll allow it.
All right, awesome. Guts. That's a weird cut you have right there on your nose. Your the bridge of your nose there. Did you get that training fighting somehow? It looks like it's healed up pretty well. How did that happen? Oh, you said that Gambino gave you medicine for that, even as you dozed off? You mean he cared for your well-being? Either way, gave you medicine. He truly cared for you. Interesting.
It was before the essay.
It
This
could
was
have been.
before.
It might have been, right? Because he's still young in this picture. He still had the cuts and bruises and everything else. So, obviously there's a way to manipulate the youth, common tactic.
Much younger than he was in this scene.
It's not that much younger. It's not that much younger.
Yeah.
That does not do any justice. But not much younger. Regardless. He did indeed care for the child. Did he not? He could have just left him to do anything. But here's the medicine for a small little cut on your nose. A tiny cut, mind you. Little itty bitty little cut. Medicine is expensive. Especially in the times that they were in. Medicine is goddamn expensive.
And Guts had to pay all of it back. Imagine if you're him and you walk up and the people in your in the comment with you, they all work with you. Yep. We're all together. We go out on these mercenary missions. We've been in the trenches together. We come to know each other. We come to have this understanding. And then boom, here I am coming into your tent tonight to come rape you. And then you're like, why the fuck did this happen? Like, what's happening to me? What's going on? Come to find out, hey, he paid me to do this. Like, I sold you to go do this. And not only did I get my money, but now I'm getting my use of you too. Now that you nice and warmed up for me. That's essentially what he told him.
Crazy. I see that you're saying all these things and treating him like a complete, like Gambino, like a complete monster. And I'm not saying that he is or isn't, but the all thing here, the most important thing. Could he really be a monster? And Judge, I'd like to ask you, do you have any pets? Any animal that you love? Pets?
Yes.
Anybody? Guys? Anybody
yes.
pets? I mean,
No,
obviously, someone maybe
let me
had a
finish
pet once
that.
or twice in their life, little goldfish or something. Who could hate a man who loves his dog, who treats his dog like this? One leg, by the way. He just good doggy.
Mm.
Love the little dog. I
You
don't.
know,
You're
I
framing
know
my
a man who
client
wants
as
to love
some
his
kind of
dog.
monster.
He loved his dog.
He did. He loved his dog and daughter so much he couldn't choose.
Said he did. They asked him which one's your favorite, and he said, "I'll show you who's my
Yeah.
favorite."
He said yes. The judge, who you're framing my client as some kind of monster. Some kind of monster. But obviously, you can see with all these things, you got to come back up here and give a little smile. Oh, he grew up to be such an upstanding man.
I know, right? I'm shocked and appalled.
Judge. There's always two sides to a story. Sometimes things look even worse on one side. You got to explore every possibility, everything. You got to know every story.
Mm-mm.
Not just
Your
black
side
and
look
white.
at
There's
your
gonna be some
side look
gray in
like that's
between.
why she's making that face, because it's terrible. How could a man do this to his adopted child? How could a man do this and say, "I'm still going to love you"? How could a mercenary decide, "Yo, all this stuff I'm cool with, I bet, and we just gonna push forward"?
Well then, I think we have time for closing arguments before I make my judgment here.
Okay. Plaintiff, please go ahead.
Ah, well, if it's me and I get to make my closing arguments, all I would say is this, Judge. Listen, at the end of the day, this nigga was wrong. Like,
Fiddling port.
simple and straight to the point. This nigga was wrong. He found a child in a tree. He decided, I'm going to raise this child to be exactly what I want him to be. You're going to be a mercenary. You're going to work for me. That was already where he went wrong, because his child was not born for mercenary life. This child was just born. Like, he lost his mom, his dad somewhere in the wind. And instead of loving, raising this child, or just leaving the child where it was, you chose to take this child in. Instead of doing right by this child, you chose to raise this child to be a mercenary. You lose your leg, and then instead of just saying, you know what, I'm done with this child, I'm gonna let him go. I've been listening to everybody. You decided to sexually assault this child. You mentally and physically abuse this child in a way that this child will never recover. You can't come back from that. There is no recovery. There is no therapy in his time. There is no nothing. He's still fighting. And then he goes from this to the toughest battles of his life. But he never forgot this. How could you? The person that you thought raised you and loved you and took care of you. Like, he might not have nurtured him, but he was there for him when he needed him. And what did he do? He showed him why you shouldn't have trusted me. And how is that fair for a child to learn love and to go out into the world that you've been training for your whole life? You've been training in the physical to be exactly what you needed to be, but you weren't trained in mental and emotional anything. And Judge, you know we don't need more niggas like that in the world. I am my case on that.
That is noted here. All right, Mr. Edgeworth, defendant.
Judge, we're all human. As I said before, we all make mistakes. We're all rough around the edges, but at the center of our being, we're still people. He decided to take this child and raise this child. This child would be dead without him. There would be no berserk. There would be no guts. There would be no story about how to persevere through all of your struggles. He provided him with enough struggle to move on with his life, and Guts became a demon slayer and a hero to many people while still suffering, because he taught him how to push through just any of these sufferings. Judge, Gambino is not a perfect man, but who is? No one. He's done what he could in his own position. He didn't have any kids, but he decided this one here is gonna be my kid. I'm gonna teach this kid. This is gonna be my kid. My little guts. Judge. Gambino's a free man. Let him be a free man. He's paid for what he's done, actually. He has. He knows he was wrong.
Does he?
Yeah, there's a whole whole panel of just he really suffered. He shouldn't have. Yeah, like he really got he got it. It was wow. But yes.
I mean, justice, but that doesn't mean that like you should have been justified and you shouldn't have your day in court. Just because you suffered at one point doesn't mean you shouldn't suffer under the eyes of the court.
Of course.
You can murder somebody and get hit by a car, but you still gotta go to jail.
Yeah.
Because you murdered someone. Like, hey man, that sucked that you got hit by a car, but you still murdered someone. So like once you're better, we gotta take you in, my man.
And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, boy. And why doesn't Gambino deserve that in your opinion?
Oh, he does. He's gotten that. Same guy. He's gotten his get back is everything. Karma has been established. He's paid for his
Your Honor, he admitted a guilty verdict. Let's get this over with. Wrap this up. I can go enjoy my Father's Day.
Objection. He set me up. Objection. Judge, you weren't
Walked
there.
him into that. I Bugs Bunny'd him.
Judge, no cap. You weren't there.
There. We're in the court. Mr. Edgeworth, Mr. I ain't calling you that. With everything that I have heard today, with the knowledge and the paperwork in front of me, and just the overwhelming evidence of what Mr. Gambino did, Mr. Edgeworth, you already know, right?
He's a free man, obviously.
No, he is not. Even though he has been, as you would say, karma has got him back already for what he did. In my courtroom, he needs to be sentenced to death, and that is my ruling. Thank you.
Oh, well, it's a win-win anywhere I go, because he did. He is dead. He's gone. So it's a win-win no matter what.
Either way, I won. So shout out to you, P. Thank you.
This is a really rough case.
Super rough. But yeah, he did it. This is another victory for me. I am very gracious in defeat and in victory. I just want to say,
shower.
wow.
I feel
That was
dirty.
what I was going to say.
Yeah, this episode was alright. I'm not gonna lie.
This episode was just.
There was another
I
dad.
apologize.
There was another dad that I could have picked. Turns out that was even worse than Gambino, and I'm really glad this one just stuck. So I'm not gonna talk about it. I'm really not. Anime is different nowadays. I'm not gonna talk about it.
But shout out to the good fathers in anime.
Yeah,
The ones that did step up. The ones
shout
that were
out
there.
Tucker, let's go.
And
Wow.
on that note, I hope everyone has a wonderful Father's Day.
Great
I hope
Father's
you
Day.
I hope you get what you want. I hope you spend time with your kids, your family. Maybe you get some time alone, whatever you need. Just I hope you have an amazing ass Father's Day. My social is down here if you want to go ahead and go follow me. I'll be seeing you all in a couple of weeks at BlurCon and then again at DreamCon, so I'm very excited for that. I'm done. I'm going to go ahead and fill up this wine glass here, my boss, because this episode was just went downhill so quick.
So quickly. So thank you all for joining us. You can follow Mikey at Fluke the Villain. You can find me at Blurred X Trap House and at UAB Network on Facebook. You can find us all unapologetically network programming all weekend long, starting on Fridays with trivia and going into Anime Court, followed by Black Girl Confidential, ending off with Anime Court every week, except for the week of BlurCon. If we can, we will get something out. If not, we probably just going to put all our different perspectives in the vlog form and give y'all a bunch of different content from us. Mikey is an amazing editor. He said he got y'all on the videos, and
Oh, thank God.
so we're gonna make it work.
Shit.
Yeah, nah. My editing skills will get us like nowhere. You should see the opening I had for Anime Court. I'll show it to y'all at the end. But yeah, nah, my editing skills aren't there. But yeah, until next time, we'll see you guys. Happy Father's Day, happy Pride Month. If those coincide for you, great. Happy Juneteenth, because we know that's coming up. I got a funny story offline. Remind me to tell y'all about the white lady at my job for Juneteenth.
Yes, we found our
Yeah,
Trap House episode.
dog.
Okay.
It comes with a video and everything. I'll drop the video in the chat and everything. But dog, it was. But all right, y'all. We're gonna get off so we can go ahead and talk about this story. If y'all see us at BlurCon, remind me to, if you got this far in the video and you want to know about the story and you want to ask about the video, I'll probably still have it. I don't delete shit. I don't have that many videos and pictures, so I'll probably still have it. If you want to see it, just
rub it in.
Somebody's upset and jealous.
someone films a lot of content. But anyway, until next time, we're gonna see y'all on the next one. Y'all be safe, y'all be happy, and follow us on our socials. Like,
Yes,
we
please.
here, we doing shit. T's streaming on her own Twitch. Mikey has his Twitch. Follow T on all her socials. Follow me on all my socials. See y'all.
Both of us like leave Twitch out of this. That's like the X we don't talk about.
You'll get it when you get it.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen. You will get it when you get it. I promise.
I can't.
You'll get it when you get it. But that's our motto for the night. We out, y'all.